Hi, hi, hello, hello. We have another new chapter of Sangatsu no Line. This one is called, ooh, it's not called Family Part 3, it's called Bug. And we return to our cover story saga. Nikudo, and Momo are in this fancy young women's clothing store called Clover, where she has been dressed up to the nines in this very luxurious changing room. I don't know if she's into it. I think she might be more of the scout disposition from To Kill a Mockingbird, who called the dress she was in like four cloth walls or something, four pink cloth walls, which she was tightly bound in. And we can see Momo's old shoes here, tattered and ripped. And then her new ones, ballet slippers with lots of strapping. Okay, so despite the total name change, we are continuing just where we left off last chapter, with the game between Kenji, whose last name I keep forgetting, and Soya. Soya Meijin brought up as Kyo for Static Hisha Anaguma. I don't know what any of this means, but that's okay. Seeing as Dobashi-kun plunged with his central Hisa, which he's never done before, he's responding by saying, well, then what are you going to do if I respond with the static Hi Ana that I barely ever do? Something like that. So it seems kind of in line with how we understand Soya to play. Kind of mischievous in his sort of transcendentalness, almost as if he's on a higher plane and just dropping little cryptic notes about how you should play. And of course, the best example we've seen this is him playing against Kiriyama. And Kiriyama noticing the move that was wrong, then that feeling of playing like icy cold water was just pouring through his brain. Anyways, did he expect this response? So yeah, I guess this is also honoring Dobayashi's deep research, something very well known about him. That it's like an entirely other category of game, an entirely hugely different branching path than the ones that normally Soyo would lead them down into this situation. So he's kind of saying, like, did you cover all of this space as well? Has your research contained even this gigantic branch off right at the start? Did he expect this response? Perhaps he did, though. 3-4 Hisa, setting the rook up from. It looks like now it can be much more ranging. Central Hisa to Ishida style. It's going to try to put a solid formation together. So even Soya's static Hisha Anaguma is within his hypotheses. Just how wide has he spread and how deep has he dove? This isn't normal. This is gonna be a long match. Oh, I love when people say stuff like that. I don't know. Just that like kind of trailing comment. Well, this is gonna be quite the match. Whatever. As long as they're just commenting on the match in general. And it's one of those like, whew, I underestimated this. And that's always gonna get me hyped. Okay. It's gonna be long. That means we can't take our eyes off until it's done. If it gets really prolonged, that means tomorrow night's dinner will end up being sandwiches here in the waiting room, doesn't it? We come all the way to Fukuoka for that. I was ready to have mizutaki for dinner. So mizutaki is a type of hot pot in which fish or other kinds of meat and vegetables are cooked in unseasoned fifth broth and dipped in tangy ponzu sauce. That sounds nice. So I guess it's a little different than normal hot pot or shabu shabu or something, because there normally the broth is extremely seasoned, whereas here it's a milder fish broth, and it's more about the ingredients and more about dipping them in the ponzu and stuff, I guess. First day of the second championship ended, with Soya Meijin making the sealed move. And then, day 2, early evening, from the start of the game, 13 hours had passed. So I suppose they've been playing from a normal time in the morning. And now many more hours have passed on the second day. What's with the Dobashi robot? Did his batteries go dead? Is he just malfunctioning? So Dobashi is just sitting there. Totally transfixed, staring at the board. Some good personal compatibility here, I think, between Soya and Dobashi. Both of them willing in situations like this to just take as long as they need. A long think. Why is he expending so much of his time here? Shouldn't be anything here but the natural 6-1 Gin. Or is he trying to get a thorough read of how the game will develop after this? Ooh, and Soya even looks up. Very uncharacteristic of him. He looks up at his opponent, as if thinking himself, isn't this a little long to be in the tank? Isn't this a little much to be tanking on the obvious 6-1 Gin move? And look at this shot of Dobayashi-kun. This is like an expression we haven't seen anyone made playing shogi before. This isn't the sort of expression that makes you think, this game makes me feel more alive than anything else. Also, a very far cry from Saku-chan's moves pouring out like lava. It really looks like maybe his batteries have run dead. Oh, these shots of Soya looking up. Again, I think of Chris Ware. I think of Chris Ware's cartoons and just those tiny little panel separations of just the slightest movement and how much that can give emphasis. Soya now looking to the side. I think checking the time of day based on the shadows. Unfurling his fan. Oh, this is all just so fantastic. Just the restraint and subtlety of every shot. Everything just kind of emerging, bit by bit. Every small decision. Look at this slight blemish on the tatami mat. I don't know if it's like a cigarette burn or a bug's corpse or just some discarded food or something. It has this kind of sense of total stillness. A stillness so complete that you begin to notice even things like that. Have you been in those situations? You can't quite call it boredom. It's not that boredom is what motivates you. It's just a total sense of contemplation that you just end up looking at everything. What's Soya-san doing? God. He's moving the bug! He's moving the bug. It was a little bug. He's moving the bug and taking it outside. He's carrying something. The other two observers seem totally uninterested. Only Shimada follows him in awe. And of course, Kenji is probably unaware that Soya even stood up, totally absorbed into the board. Soya-san came back. And then finally a move was made. It looks like it's 6-1 Gin. Yeah, I have reason to believe that it's 6-1 Gin at least. And then just back to nothing. But I don't see the bug on the tatami behind them. I think that's what he did. He used his fan to carry the bug outside. I think. I don't know, we'll see. Until the endgame, the situation kept swinging back and forth. After they had both used up their available time and were down to 1 minute shogi, with 145 moves, the curtain came to a close on the second game of the Meijin Championship, with Soya Meijin's victory. Oh, that's why the chapter is called Bug. Oh, so observant. Years of reading manga allow me this level of insight and analysis. Okay, anyways, okay. The post-mortem that took place after quietly continued deep into the night as the second day ended. So the fact that even during a title match, they still do the post-mortem, to me is very, very interesting. Especially between these players, whom I'm sure didn't exchange a word through the entire game, and don't even need to exchange a word during the post-mortem. My understanding is the way that the post-mortem typically goes is you just start replaying the game as you did during the actual match. And then at certain points, you would say, okay, but what if I did this instead? And then they might point out, oh, no, that's so much worse for you. Or they might go, oh, maybe that will work here. And then you kind of pursue that line for a little bit. Maybe at some points you rewind back to the original game, go a few moves as they were played, until you find another interesting situation. And you can actually do this without really any sort of communication at all, just by moving the pieces. Game was long, so was the postmortem. Matsunaga-san was crying. He yelled, Mizutaki fried pork leg through tears. I guess they ended up eating sandwiches in the waiting room. Couldn't get a good look at it through the monitor. But around 3 o'clock, Soya-san left his seat, right? What was that all about? There was a bug. A little bug. Soya was concerned about it, believe it or not. It's pretty surprising, but it made me kind of happy to see. So humane. Oh, and look at how happy Nikaido is. He thinks that's so cool that Soya saved the bug. He's probably thinking, oh, I can't wait until I'm Meijin and I can do such small gestures that receive such attention and speculation, But I'm sure he's also thinking, wow, Soya Meijin is so cool. Oh, no, actually Soya didn't care about the bug. So he's remembering the very strict routine. So, did Soya deliberately do this to throw Kenji off his game? That sounds so out of character for Soya. But basically, it's like as soon as Soya sat back down, Kenji made the move. And he made, I'm pretty sure, the move that Shimada was thinking was obvious. But of course, when you're tanking so hard on an obvious move, maybe in all of your depth and breadth of research, you've realized, oh, this move is actually going to lead me down the path to defeat. So it's like Soya threw him off a little bit, and then he just defaulted to this move. So did Soya do that on purpose? Okay, so Shimada's thinking of his routine. The robot. Dobashi-san's concentration was tremendous. Once he'd sunk that deep, everything else was blocked out. Yeah, it seems like he didn't even notice that Soya stood up. He didn't look up at him or anything. But at the edge of his vision, there was something that everyone else, and even the player himself, didn't realize. It was causing problems with his thought process. Oh, Soya noticed that little bug and removed it for Dobashi-san. No, for their match, for both of them. Oh, that was it? Soya realized that Dobashi was actually distracted by the bug this entire time. Ah, wonderful. And the fact that I was disgracefully jealous of that, I will take to my grave as a secret. Ah, and then this duo sets off again. I think they're such a great pair, such a great team. All such great characters. Oh, Soya! In the end, it's like we have such focus on Dobashi, right? But it's like Soya who kind of sank into his role as, the impenetrable, invincible Meijin. Now, this new facet of his personality, of his consideration, just kind of emerged incidentally. Oh my gosh. And then we're just left with such fondness for everyone involved in this situation. Oh, okay. Is there some blog posts regarding superstition? Okay, this will be an interesting one. When you think of a gambler, you picture someone on the edge in Western clothing, a wrinkled brow, and of course superstition. Sort of stereotypical shogi player, for the most part, does not exist. They spend most of their day in t-shirts and jeans. Don't have any sort of scary appearance, and yes, I believe there are very few that are superstitious. I say believe because, naturally, I don't talk about it much with other people, much less people in the industry. This all makes very much sense to me. Why should a shogi player be superstitious? It makes a little more sense if you're playing a game that actually does have elements of luck. Um, and then, of course, all right, well, this is a huge other conversation, a topic that I've brought up with many other friends. Let's say you're playing a game like shogi or chess or something. Perfect information, perfect knowledge, um, like purely strategic, no real-time element. Let's say you use a strategy, some kind of tricky thing, some trap, some gambit that they are not familiar with, and then they fall for it. Are you lucky that they didn't know about it? You know what I'm saying? Or even like you make some move and they just don't notice what that piece is threatening. They overlook it, they make another move, you gain huge material. You got lucky, right? But there's no luck, there's no random number generator or anything like that. Okay, but anyways, no matter how you think about it, I can say that very few shogi players pay much attention to superstition, seeing as shogi is such a logical game. Of course. So most people that get into shogi have a scientific mindset. I would say that is the biggest reason. Again, these are all my personal thoughts on the matter, but there's also the fact that we don't get injured. Where sports athletes are surprisingly very superstitious. Yeah. It's thought that because in sports, both losing and getting injured are really awful situations. No matter how cautious you are, injury has a certain element of luck to it. So what makes one entreaty to a deity? So yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Sports players are more superstitious against the worst happening, suddenly just rolling your ankle or breaking a bone or something. It's not necessarily about winning. And then, of course, in Yugami-kun, we've dealt a lot with superstition, and we had Yugami's systematic statistical breakdown of why superstition is not real. But then he also learned what I think is the true value of superstition, especially in something like a sport, which is that it calms you down. If you have some sort of ritual for good luck, really what that ritual is doing is assuring you, okay, now I have good luck, so I don't have to worry about luck anymore. And there, because of that, you're probably going to end up playing better. You're probably going to be sticking more to your game, becoming more confident in your movements and stuff. And this will allow you to just play at a higher level than if you were thinking for every tiny little decision, oh God, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? So, yeah, I don't know. I've thought of myself as a person completely free of superstition. However, once on the morning of the match, right when I was trying to tie my necktie, an awful feeling ran through my body. I'd lost the last match I wore with that necktie in. What should I do? After a little thinking, I decided, like hell, I was going to let some superstition beat me. I'm going to win with this necktie. And I lost. And in my next match, I wore a different necktie. Ugh, I lost to the superstition. How mortifying. Thinking back to it now, I was at the bottom of the slump at a time. I think I had around a 7-game losing streak at the time. Because of what was going on at the time, I said at the time so many times just now, I was feeling weak-hearted, and so I came up with the idea that it was the neckties fault that I lost. When things are going well, you don't pay attention to omens, but during times of adversity, you get concerned about dull things. I think dull things is such a funny way to put it, but it's true. You do kind of grasp at anything when you're losing, any sort of thing that can change the tides. But when you're winning, you wouldn't give two thoughts about what you were wearing at the time. You wouldn't think, oh, this brought me good luck. You would attribute it to your skill, of course. I don't know. In Melee, I don't really have any good luck rituals. In Melee, the only thing that feels like luck is, am I going to get seeded in matchups that I like? Am I going to win rock, paper, scissors, which gives me a slight advantage in striking stages, insofar as I get my choice of the final 2 stages? I don't know, all sorts of silliness like this kind of pervades Melee, or in certain matchups, like is Peach going to pull Stitch Faces and Bombs against me? Really, that's the only one that comes up. Oh, is Luigi going to get lots of misfires against me? So, I don't know, there is luck, there is RNG elements, but I don't think I have any rituals or anything for that. There's just certain things that I know will make me play better, like listening to certain types of music, I know will like keep me a good level of kind of focused and happy. The things that will allow me to kind of like shake off bad situations and kind of reset my mentality. I know that if I have those sorts of triggers and tools in like what I'm listening to or just in the sort of things I'm thinking about, that'll work out better. So this kind of leads to superstitious behavior, like I'm going to think about like Hibike Euphonium and put my character's tag in as Reina or something. Not that this will supernaturally make me play better, but just that it might help with my mentality. So I think all of that is fine. I wouldn't really call it superstitious. On match days, I look at the river as I walk to the JR station. Perhaps this is a superstition of Kiriyama's. I don't think so. I think this is just what he likes doing. I think he just likes looking at the river. Yeah, it's an interesting concept, superstition, because you can't deny, like, anything that affects your mentality is going to affect your play. And therefore, any sort of ritualistic type things you do, if they have an effect on your mentality, really do quote unquote work, right? The only thing they won't affect is purely actual RNG type things, and it's not like I have any delusions. It's not like I think, oh, if I'm listening to Lil Baby and Gunna's Drip Too Hard, then Peach can't possibly pull a Stitch Face. I'm not so delusional. Don't worry about that. Okay, that's all for now. Let's look forward to another chapter. Perhaps the next one will finish up, or I don't know what'll happen. We've just finished seeing the second match. They're 1-1 now. Usually, I think these are like best of sevens. So there could still be quite a lot of arc left in this Meijin Championship. At the same time, it's not really like the series to show like match after match after match of the same championship. Usually we just kind of join it right at the end, or even just to see it at the start, use these as like exemplar matches, and then later find out the result. Those are much more common than actually following the progression of the games. So I'm not really sure what we'll see next. I don't know, but we'll find out together soon enough. See you then. Bye bye.